A very good evening and welcome to Economic Forum. I am Love Mobanda. I hope I find you well. Economic Forum, as always, a program that looks at the various aspects of the Zimbabwean economy, and you'll agree with me that science and technology development are key in that. So this evening we're talking to the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, the Honorable Professor AMON MURWIRA. Honorable Minister, welcome to Economic Forum.
Thank you very much, Lavmo. And I just want to say the ministry has been changed name by His Excellency, and the ministry is now called the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development. So the innovation has now been added to the name of the ministry to emphasize on the issue of innovation for industrialization.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, wearing your professorial hat there and taking me back to school. Thank you very much. That brings us to the key question. Is our education answering to our needs?
Our education today has to be looked at in context. First of all, from 1980, our education has been focused on three missions: teaching, research, and community service. These are three missions, isn't it? Let me call it Education 3.0. And then we are now faced with a situation whereby we have a very literate population of over 94%. Very literate, the highest, one of the highest in the world, surely the highest in Africa. But we are still faced with another question which says, if you are defining that as education, why is Zimbabwe not industrialized? So it makes us look at our education with the aim of making it produce goods and services. Because education by nature must produce goods and services that meet human needs. So, answering your question more directly, we then said, okay, these three missions cannot lead us to produce goods and services. So we added two other missions to this Education 3.0. We added innovation and industrialization so that our national strategic intent of producing goods and services is met. So now we are in an era of Education 5.0. This is the education design that we are following. Previously, our education was not designed. I emphasize design, because design is very important. As I always say, you can't use an axe to drive a nail, and you can't use a hammer to cut a tree. Each is designed for a purpose. So this other education design of 3.0 was necessarily designed to produce a literate person that could be instructed. And by nature and by definition and by operation, it's a colonial design. And this education that we are propounding, Education 5.0, is by nature a liberating design, which says go all the way and industrialize using your educated people. So you see, the design now is making education more useful. But to make it more useful, we are saying it has to be based on a real philosophy which drives it. And that philosophy is what we call heritage philosophy. Heritage philosophy is basically telling us that as Zimbabwe, we have got enough natural endowments, minerals, flora, which are trees and herbs, fauna, water, and its human resources. And then we can use any sophisticated knowledge, any sophisticated scientific knowledge, physics, chemistry, biochemistry, biology, all this knowledge, we use it on our natural environment so that we innovate and produce new goods and services. So we call it heritage-based education 5.0. We are not changing any physics formula. We are just saying the physics formula has to be applied on Zimbabwe's resources.
Now, before you came up with this policy, you had done a national skills audit. If you can just speak to that.
Yes, sure. Before we did any policy change, we had a national skills audit that we, when the new dispensation came, His Excellency the President asked us to do a national skills audit. That was December 2017. So we carried out a national skills audit from December 2017, and the results came in April 2018. And these are the results. 1, we have a literacy rate in this country of more than 94%, which means reading and writing. Remember, literacy means read, write. Nothing more than that, which is good foundation. But when we went into certain specialized areas, about 6 of them, these are the results. Natural sciences, what are the skills levels that Zimbabwe has? 3%. What are the skills deficits? 97%. So if people get so interested in miracles and witches, don't be surprised. It's because of this 3% availability, 97% deficit. Now, in medicine and health sciences, our skills levels are at 5%. And our skills deficit is 95%. That's why you find out that even on TV, people are asking for money to go abroad. It tells you that it's a reflection of the skills, that we don't have enough skills on that. But I'm talking about this as a basis. I'm not mourning. I am just talking about what is there. And then I'll tell you the way forward, which we have already taken. Engineering skills levels are at 6%. Skills deficit, 94%. And my joke most of the times is, are you surprised when you see potholes? Huh? It could be a result of that skills level. In business and commerce, you find out that we've got a skills surplus of 21%. So you see, people end up selling anything. If I may explain, I normally use a Shona saying which says, Kana gondo rapota niyo rino kumba zwese na marara. What does it mean? There are so many commercial people, to the extent that if there are not enough goods and services to sell, they end up selling money. So this is a reflection of that skill surplus.
Honorable Minister, we'll come back to more on the National Skills Audit when we come back for the second segment of Economic Forum. You want to join us then where we are talking to the Honorable Minister of Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, the Honorable Professor AMON MURWIRA. Welcome to the second segment of the Economic Forum. We are talking innovation, science and technology with the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, the Honorable Professor AMON MURWIRA. Before the break, you were talking about the National Skills Audit.
Yes. I then was going to go to law, for example. Law has a skills level of 8% and a deficit of 92%. And arts and humanities outside law have got a skills surplus of 13%. So it means then we have to emphasize on these subjects that have got a lot of skills deficit in order to propel our country forward. But just to say in the design, therefore, we said, let's focus on innovation. First of all, we reconstructed the idea of education to Education 5.0. And we started making sure that it happens on the ground by setting up innovation hubs. We started with 6 state universities: NAST, UZ, MSU, HIT, CAT, and the Zimbabwe National Defense University. To date, His Excellency the President has commissioned 3: NAST, MSU, and UZ, but CAT is almost done, and so forth. So in the innovation hub, 3 things happen. Good ideas are evaluated by experts. That's 1. If they are so good and original, it means lawyers have to protect them. So that's intellectual property protection, IP. Then the marketing team works on seeing whether this product is a market. And the result of an innovation hub is a prototype. So from this policy alone of saying, let's do innovation besides the physical infrastructure, for the first time in the history of universities in this country. UZ, within 1 year, when we started this policy, has applied for 49 patents. Huh? It has never happened because there was no design like that. Now, HIT, more than 10 patents, MSU, 4 patents. So see, any patent is a potential industrial line. It's a production line. Yeah? This is how then we would cause industry in this country through that design. But then we say, okay, you can have a prototype, but it needs to be manufactured. Where do we manufacture it? So we started on the idea of the 5th point, which are industrial parks. We are building 2 industrial parks this far. At the University of Zimbabwe Thorn Park Estate, along the Mazowe Road, as well as at Chinoy University of Technology Farm. We have put a lot of budget on it. The Minister of Finance has supported us. His Excellency the President, who is the Chancellor of the universities, is very unequivocal on this one. He supported us in a very big way to start on this new path. We said we should never, never specialize in studying the tail. Huh? If you study the tail, you are always behind the animal. Go in front. So we are going in front using this model. So for the first time, you shall find out that universities are the source of industrialization of this country. So this is the skills audit. This is our reaction to it. And also, to react to it, we started on the apprenticeship program. For the first time, it had been suspended, I think, in 2012. So far, we have taken 1,000 students who are on station right now. And we have also taken 1,000 more who are going to start in January. So 2,000 so far in 1 year. So it means our drive towards skills upon literacy is very real.
Honorable Minister, this all sounds exciting, but the taste of the pudding is in the eating.
That's correct.
And ultimately, how successful innovation will be is the extent to which it will go to improve the lives of the average Zimbabwean, the men on the street.
That's correct.
So far we've heard about the arrangement of technology and their work with transformers that we've heard about. There was talk of something, I think, to do with fuel.
Yes.
Was that with the National University of Science and Technology?
No, with HIT as well. HIT is doing 3 projects under innovation, right? There is that transformer project, right? Number 2, there is the Zupco Tap and Go system. That Zupco Tap and Go system was developed by HIT, where you have a tap card, right? So this is our innovation drive, as you can see. And we are funding it. It's not like we are saying, do it from nowhere. We are funding it consciously. Now they are developing a fuel monitoring system. And we have given them the budget for it. They needed $320,000 to complete it because there are some foreign components of some parts, not the software, which they are designing. And we've given them. So they are doing a fantastic job. They have also done innovation on this system for managing local authorities, which is now being used by several local authorities. So it's not like we did not have people who could do things, but the design was not allowing them time to do. You know, when you're a consultant and you've got 3 terms of reference, would you do a 4th one? If you do a 4th one, you are out of order. Now we are saying innovation is not being out of order. Being industrialization is not out of order. The way our universities operate has changed completely. It means a person cannot be in class from 7 to 7. We will recognize that the person has to be in the innovation hub, and the person has to be doing research, and the person has to be in the industrial park. So the way we allocate time for a lecturer is now different. Because in the past, if a lecturer would say, no, I'm innovating on this, they say, you are wasting students' time. You must be in class. But we are saying, no, go out and innovate and do things. So now they have the time and the latitude to industrialize this country. And the taste of the pudding, as I said, is in the eating. Go and look at the back of a Zupco. It's written tap and go. That's HIT. Number 2, if you go to Chinoy University of Technology, last year we started on an artificial insemination program, on biotechnology artificial insemination program. You know, all pedigree bull semen in this country was being imported, right? But now we installed capacity. They are very intelligent people at Chinoy now, and we have given them the capacity to produce 7 million semen straws per year at a rate of 4,000 per hour. Zimbabwe has got about 1.5 million cows. We can produce semen for each cow within 3 months. For all of the cows in Zimbabwe within 3 months. Which gives us 1.5 million. We have got a capacity of 7.7 million. So it's 7.7 million minus 1.5. It means 5.2 million are for sale. We can export. But each one costs $20. So if Chinoi has got 7 million semen straws per year and $20 each, it means they now have got a revenue capacity of $140 million. That's pudding for you. Eat it. So the next, when we are talking about results that matter, now what we have done also is to make sure that these innovation hubs are really operational. At NAST, they are specializing in DNA. And so far, we used to export samples for people who would have bent beyond recognition. But now we can identify them at NAST, really. And it was inaugurated by His Excellency. But you know the Mvuma bus disaster, you know the Kwatemba bus disaster, and you also know the Cyclone Idai. All these relatives and so forth, they are now being identified at the Innovation Hub at National University of Science and Technology. This is real. And then when you go to UZ, they've applied for 49 patents. Not only that, they are now involved in research that will make sure that we will produce cakes, flour, bread from rapoko, from millet, from sorghum. Whoever said bread should always come from wheat? So these are the innovations. So this country is on the move. And this movement can only come from the children that it has raised in its schools.
Interesting day, what is happening in our universities to move them away from being the traditional and proverbial ivory towers. We want to continue with this discussion in the third and final segment of Economic Forum. You want to join us there? Welcome to the third and final segment of this edition of Economic Forum, where we're talking to the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, the Honorable Professor AMON MURWIRA. Honorable Minister, you were talking about the University of Zimbabwe and its patents.
Mm-hmm. So far, the University of Zimbabwe has filed for 49 patents. And I told you HIT has filed for more than 10. I think there are 19 or so. And MSU has filed for more than 4. This is in response to the design, to the new design, which now says you can do it, right? So what Zimbabwe has done now is to design a system whereby it can capture its IP, intellectual property, for its own development. And this is the design of Education 5.0. So we have these patents which have been applied for with ARIPO and with the ZIPO, of course, Zimbabwe Intellectual Property Office. And we are expecting to reap benefits from this because patents are the drivers of industrialization. It gives you authority to manufacture things as your own. Just like the patent on Coca-Cola. I think it's held at some office somewhere, and the whole world will manufacture Coca-Cola on the rights that are given to them based on the patent. This is exactly the way we are moving. We are fixing the system so that Zimbabwe inofana kudya njere dzinodyiwa ende dzinonaka. So this is exactly what we are talking about. We have now Education 5.0 as a system which captures that. And what we have done also is to start systematic funding of research that result in the realization of patents. I would tell you that we have funded so far Chinoi University of Technology to the tune of about 5 million to do research around cattle feed formulation, to do with vaccine manufacturing, because you know we are importing vaccines in this country. More than 400 million is spent in this country annually on veterinary medicines, and more than 300 million spent on human medicine. So Chinoi is focusing on that. We have also given UZ 7 million to do research on traditional grains, sorghum, Rapoko, Zio, and Munga, so that they begin to be in the mainstream. Our main aim is to start having like a Rapoko Institute. You know, there's a Cotton Institute, because, and also there is a Tobacco Institute. But our crops, which sustained you and me, our ancestors, because we're a product of our ancestors. If they had died, we would not be here. They were depending on these things, and they were not being shocked by droughts that much. So we are saying we are rebirthing Zimbabwe. We are renaissancing Zimbabwe into growing crops that matter for food. We have given MSU 2 million Zimbabwe dollars to do research on indigenous fruits with the intention of making juices, indigenous herbs, and so forth and so on. We will also be giving to Marondera to do the same thing, Marondera University of Agricultural Science and Technology. So this is the movement the government has invested so far. In this year alone, more than 20 million in research that is aimed to providing goods and services, not just research for research's sake. Since even Rhodesian times, no amount of money of this nature has been put into universities to do research for the production of goods and services. It has started with the government of Comrade Idi Mnangagwa, His Excellency, in the Second Republic.
I take it then that you are happy with the way that the National Fiscus has responded to the 5 arms of your new education policy.
I am very happy because you find out that since the last budget of 2019, you find innovation being an item on a budget line. You see industrialization, industrial parks and science parks being a budget line for the first time. So the fiscus is responding.
Honorable Minister, according to your projections, when do you expect to see all these ideas, the patents coming full mainstream?
I can say as soon as possible, because I've already told you, Lovemore, that 49 have been filed, and I think for UZ9 have been processed already. And we are building an industrial park at the Thornpark Estate at the University Farm. And we are building another one at Chinhoyi University of Technology. It means they are already ready. And you know, one of the inventions, for example, at Chinhoyi University of Technology, they formulated a feed, which they are already making. It's already commercial, for example. And we built the factory. So I'm saying they will be coming minute by minute from now onwards. So I'm expecting a lot of exciting times to come, but we have to keep focused. We have to be humble so that we concentrate.
Isn't there a risk of duplication? I mean, we have research institutes in the country that have been there before. I mean, the likes of the Scientific Industrial Research Development Council, for example. What are they now doing?
No, they work together. The scientists work together. There's so much work in this country. I mean, this country is not a developed country. There's so much work for everyone. Nobody can take anybody's work because there's just too much to do. So we believe that they work together, and we don't have money for competition. We have money for complementarity. So on the vaccine project, it is UZ, it is Chinhoyi, it is SEDIC who are working together on it. So we have introduced a cross-pillar system. We are no longer interested in people who are not so we are talking about kwedu and doing things so we are working together. Everybody with knowledge on a subject is welcome, including the private sector, by the way. Anybody, even a person who is walking on the street and finds out that they've got a brilliant brainwave which comes in, they can enter an innovation hub, and we give them innovation hub status. I've told you that at UZ, they submitted a proposal whereby they want 22 students to remain at the university after their degree so that they can finish their projects so that they can be patented. 22 of them. They requested 3.3 million and we gave them. That's how serious we are.
There you are. We've been talking innovation and the industrialization stemming from there, with the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, the Honorable Professor AMON MURWIRA. Minister, thank you very much for coming to Economic Forum.
Thank you very much.
We will continue. Obviously, there is a lot more to talk to the Minister about, and also we'll have a second part of this program to look at those issues. But otherwise, for tonight, thank you for watching.